It's a Friday, the 13th of June 2025. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Newsplus. My name is Francisca Msheche, and now let's take a look at your top stories tonight. President Emmerson Mnangagwa today commissioned 96 housing units at the Zimbabwe Republic Police Chimoyo Camp, formerly Tomlinson Depot, an event at which the name change was also officially launched. The remaining of the camp ensures that the nation preserves its heritage. Stay tuned for highlights from the president's speech at the event. We shall also get an update on preparations for the Gukurahundi hearings, with traditional leaders expected to meet to finalize modalities for the process, whose aim is to bring closure and help start the healing process for the affected families. Information Permanent Secretary Nick Mangwana spoke to our Bulawayo Bureau on the preparations. Health experts in the country say the COVID-19 response showed crucial lessons for the country, as well as act as a platform to strengthen the national health systems. And in sport, we look at why Fighting Giants have opted to pull out of the CAF Confederation Cup tournament. We shall also give you previews of matches in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League, which resumes on Saturday. And now in news in great detail, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has committed to continue mobilizing resources to capacitate the Zimbabwe Republic Police to effectively deal with emerging sophisticated challenges such as transnational organized crimes, armed robberies and road traffic accidents. The president was speaking at a ceremony to rename Tomlinson Police Depot, where he underscored the importance of capacity building programs for the police in fighting crime. President Mnangagwa also commissioned accommodation units for police officers.
The emergence of sophisticated crimes requires police to rapidly evolve and adapt. The importance of capacity building programs for law enforcement agencies can thus never be understated. Zimbabwe's most powerful office, the presidency, is alive to this salient reality. President Mnangagwa today made a commitment to mobilize more resources for the country's police force. This, he said, would capacitate the force to ensure they are ready to deal with emerging sophisticated crime.
Resources will continue to be mobilized to capacitate the police to effectively deal with emerging challenges which, among others, include transnational organized crimes, armed robberies, and of course road traffic accidents.
The president was speaking at the official ceremony to rename the Tomlinson Police Depot to Chimoyo Camp Depot. The name change is an effort to preserve the country's heritage as well as dismantle colonial legacies. The renaming ceremony coincided with the commissioning of 4 blocks of residential flats, now called the Chimoyo Police Camp Flats.
The renaming of this depot to Chimoyo Camp marks yet another milestone and a step towards dismantling the remaining colonial legacies. The sacrifices made by our gallant sons and daughters, including at Chimoyo Camp in Mozambique, should inspire our officers to conduct themselves diligently.
The provision of on-site accommodation for police officers aims to ensure effective and efficient mobility, maintain a professional environment, and support their overall well-being. This also helps improve service delivery capabilities by providing adequate and suitable housing. President Mnangagwa emphasized the importance of providing police officers with decent accommodation.
Our public servants require safe and good places to stay with their families, for them to be effective in the delivery of quality service to the nation. This is no different for our country's police officers, who carry out very important and demanding roles in our society by maintaining law and order.
Home Affairs Minister Kazembe commended the President for his efforts towards improving the welfare of police officers and overall efficiency of the force. He revealed that on its part, the police force was working on introducing an integrated information management system strategy. The system streamlines operations by consolidating data from various sources into a single accessible platform. This allows for real-time information sharing, improved communication, and more efficient investigations.
Work on the electronic traffic management system, Your Excellency, has already commenced, and proof of concept has already been deployed, through which a number of offenders have now been accounted for.
Improving the welfare and efficiency of police forces is crucial for creating a safer and more just society. A well-supported and effective police force is essential for maintaining public safety, building community trust, and ensuring the lawful and ethical administration of justice.
The Zimbabwe Electoral Commission says it is prepared for the by-elections set for this week. The by-elections follow the recall of the incumbent Gutu East MP Benjamin Ganyiwe by his party ZANU-PF, while that of Insiza North constituency comes after the passing of the late MP Farai Taruvinga, who passed on this year in March. The vacancy for Ward 4 of Binga RDC was a result of resignation of the sitting councillor, and that of Ward 5 of Chipinge RDC arose following the death of the councillor Alderman Muchuwaire.
We have constituency by-elections in Gutu East, Masingo. We also have a constituency by-election in Matebele South in Siza, and as well as RDC by-elections in Benga, that is in Matebele North, and as well as Chipinge RDC in Manicaland. Of course, the by-elections were motivated by a number of things. Basically, in the case of Gutu East, the by-election follows an expulsion of the then MP by his party. In Caesar North, in Matebele South, it was because of the death of the then sitting MP. In Matebele North, Ward 4 Binga, it was because of the resignation of the then sitting councillor. And in Chipinge, in Manicaland, it was because of the death of the then sitting councillor. All electoral centers, we've got our ZRP in place, and everybody that is involved in this process, all in place. Barring an earthquake, we are very confident that we are ready for tomorrow's by-elections.
The nomination courts for the 14 June by-elections set on 50 May 2025. The results of the nomination court were published in the Government Gazette of May 23, 2025. In Gutu East, Zwaraivashe Maswingise will stand in for ZANU-PF. He will battle with independent candidate Gift Gonese and Zivanai Zwenga of National Constitutional Assembly. In Insiza North, Zapu will be represented by Tavani Mlocha, while Delani Moyo will be on the ballot for the ruling party ZANU-PF. Leslie Dube, an independent candidate, and Mbongeni Moyo of Zimbabwe National Revival Party will also be on the ballot. For Binga Rural District, Dube Mipia, an independent candidate, will battle it out with Munsaka Brian of ZANU-PF. 4 candidates will contest for the post of ward councillor in Chipinge RDC. The 4 Hunge Singatini, ZANU-PF, Mkachana Tinozivei, National Constitutional Assembly, Salani Godfrey, Independent, and Jugumi Ndinani, Triple C. All is now in place for the commencement of the Gukurahundi public hearings, with the steering committee meeting with traditional chiefs from Matebeleland to finalize on logistics and other administrative processes. Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Nick Mangwana, said the Attorney General is the coordinator and head of secretariat for the process.
Gukurahundi Community Engagement Outreach Program is meeting with traditional chiefs from Matebeleland here in Bulawayo to finalize logistical arrangements for the rollout of community outreach program. The key highlights include reviewing feedback from awareness campaigns conducted in Matebeleland North and South provinces. Final training of rapporteurs on June 14, 2025, tomorrow, to document testimonies during public hearings, and National Council of Chiefs meeting on June 15, 2025, to finalize operational plans and provide guidance on the community engagement. A command center has been established here in Bulawayo at First Mutual Building to support and coordinate the process. This will be the home of the process.
Secretary Mangwana said the meetings are meant to bring closure and help start the healing process for affected families and communities through the provision of safe spaces for involved victims to share experiences.
The upcoming community hearings aim to provide a safe platform for communities to share their experiences and begin the healing process, promoting national healing and reconciliation as well as unity.
Moving on with our stories, as Zimbabwe heads into mid-June, winter is slowly setting in. In fact, the temperatures have significantly dropped in some parts of the country. We are now heading into the weekend, and our weatherman James Ngoma joins us live to help us plan with the weather in mind. James, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Newsplus tonight. Now, what's the outlook for the coming days heading to the 21st of June, which is said to be the coldest day of the month, according to a report you released earlier this week?
Thank you very much for that question. Looking at the phenomenon that we've been having over much of the country, we've had interesting weather just as of today, where we had frost being recorded over the southern parts of the country in Matopos, where we had a -1 degree on the ground, and we are still expecting a bit more as we enter into the weekend, especially over the northeastern parts of the country, covering areas such as Yonyanga in Manicaland, and the rest of the country, however, should have interesting weather, where we're expecting a cloud system that has entered in from the west, giving us showers over much of the country, and we're still expecting the southeasterly wind to cool out much of the atmosphere, also giving us cooler weather. So we've got two phenomena that are cooling much of the atmosphere, so our maximums during the day should be suppressed, as well as the minimums during the morning, because of the southeasterly push, whilst the westerly band gives us more of the cloudy conditions during the day, also lowering the maximums for much of this period. So this is what was expected for this week.
Now, James, for the rest of the month of June, should we brace for colder temperatures?
So right now, interestingly, we have noted some of the minimums falling to about -3 degrees, especially along the southern parts of the country. We're still expecting more of such falls. As we exit the weekend, we're expecting the clouds that were over much of the country to ease off. So as we get into Monday and Tuesday, we're expecting less of cloud, and with that, it almost translates to the period where you have your blanket being pulled off during the night. You feel that cold, so temperatures do tend to suppress even further as we move out of the weekend. So we should see a decline in our morning temperatures over much of the southern and northern parts of the country, especially areas such as your Matopos, your Gweru, Masvingo, parts of Marondera, as well as Nyanga, where we see most of our minimums falling below sub-zero temperatures, so we should experience a bit of ground frost in those areas. And interestingly, as we get further on in the month of June, we expect less of the solar radiation as the sun drifts further northwards, so we expect a fall of our temperatures further as we enter into the last parts of June as well.
And now, in terms of farming, what warning and advice can you give to the farmers and also the general public?
So for the general public, we still advise that during this period, if you tend to light a fire indoors, it might be your mbaura or other sources of heat, please ensure that the room is well ventilated. For the farmer, we still advise you to check advisories on how to mitigate frost. And also, if you're into poultry, also make sure that your hen houses are always kept adequately warm. Don't overheat them, but also keep monitoring the temperature so that they don't fall below what is anticipated for those hen houses. With that, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James, for joining us on Newsplus. We now take a break. Stay with us.
Asilwela ukunqoba kuphela kepha silwela ukwakha isizwe esinohlonze. Sekunjalo.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. The government has emphasized the need to strengthen primary health care, expand access to specialist services and invest in infrastructure, particularly in underserved areas. The commitment follows the achievement attained in Zimbabwe's COVID-19 response and the Essential Health Services Project, which closed on Thursday. Our correspondent Selina Nyamangara has more details.
Since its inception in April 2022, the COVID-19 Response and Essential Health Services Project has played a crucial role in strengthening Zimbabwe's health system and fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. With over 120 million channeled towards various initiatives including health emergency prevention, preparedness, response, resilience, and the energy sector management assistance program, the project's impact has been far-reaching.
Our national COVID-19 vaccination campaign reached every province and district, resulting in 521,000 people being vaccinated. Cold chain capacity was significantly enhanced with the 250 solar directed drive refrigerators deployed nationwide. 16 rural health facilities were solarized, improving service delivery and storage of life-saving commodities. Integrated outreach services extended healthcare to over 278,000 people in remote communities, and additionally over 2,000 health workers were trained to use Go data for real-time outbreak tracking.
As the project concluded this week, Deputy Minister Kwidini says this marks not the end of the project but the beginning of a new chapter in prioritizing primary healthcare services.
We must recognize that this is not the end but the beginning of a new phase. One that builds on the lessons of resilience, innovation, and data-driven decision-making. The momentum we have gained must be sustained to ensure Zimbabwe meets its commitments under the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Going forward, we must continue to strengthen primary healthcare, expand access to specialist services, and invest in infrastructure, particularly in underserved areas. We must also deepen partnerships with the private sector, civil society, and international partners to scale up innovation and impact.
The implementing partners also highlighted that throughout the project, procurement was one of the challenges first, but they were able to overcome it through a collaborative approach.
Procurement, I must say, seems to be one of the most challenging tasks in this country, and I can tell you not only in this country. We believed in our competence and took up an 11-month project characterized largely with a $12 million investment in procurement, and we took up the challenge. We've demonstrated, we think, that apart from being a system strengthening expert, we're also now a procurement expert.
Stakeholders, on the other hand, called for the implementation of lessons learned to improve the health care in underserved areas.
As we finalize this project, let us ensure that lessons learned, agility shown, and community engagement continue to guide us. Looking ahead, we need to focus together on strengthening primary healthcare services. The PS talked about teenager pregnancies, expanding access to specialized care, and improving health infrastructure in underserved regions. Investing in strong health information systems that support evidence-based planning and monitoring of health outcomes is essential.
As Zimbabwe moves forward, it is essential to reflect on these foundations to ensure a healthier future for all citizens. Reporting for ZTN Prime in Harare, I am Selina Nyamangara.
Zimbabwe loses around 5 lives a day to road accidents, yet support for victims remains limited. Now the Road Accident Fund bill, whose principles were approved by Cabinet last week, promises faster help, medical cover and even funeral support. But will it work, and can it be protected from abuse? Faith Nyawude explores the subject further.
On Tuesday last week, Cabinet approved principles of the Road Accident Fund bill. The bill seeks to ensure safe and sustainable transport, as well as reduce road traffic accident deaths and injuries. It is expected to make provision for appropriate emergency treatment, medical and funeral expenses for road traffic accident victims across the country. The proposed fund is set to work on a no-fault basis. This means anyone injured in a road accident, be it a driver, passenger or pedestrian, will get help, regardless of who was at fault.
Anyone involved in that accident, or anyone who's injured as a result of that accident, whether you are a passenger or whether you're a driver, or whether you're a driver of another motor vehicle involved in that particular accident, you are covered under the Road Accident Fund.
Unlike the current third-party motor insurance, which often delays payouts while trying to establish negligence, this fund is designed to offer immediate support. The proposed Road Accident Fund will cover medical treatment, funeral costs, and possibly education for dependents, aspects that the current third-party insurance cover model does not cater for.
Because the Road Accident Fund caters for the post-accident issue, where it can go beyond even funerals, catering for funerals, loss of income, and what have you, while the third party doesn't go beyond that.
The goal is not just better care for its victims, but less red tape for emergency response. Emergency healthcare workers hope the fund will ensure they are properly resourced and paid on time for them to efficiently execute their mandate.
An ambulance sits there where there's an accident or no accident. There are workers that need to be paid. There are sundries that need to be bought. There are drugs that are expiring. So you want a funding model that is holistic, that look at all those things. Who is parking where and for how long, and how should they be compensated?
Currently, Zimbabwe has over 200 ambulances, a number that is significantly lower than the recommended 800 to adequately cover the country. Plans are that the Road Accident Fund will plug this yawning gap.
Say the large or long-term intention is to be able to capacitate those directly involved in dealing with immediate treatment after a road accident. So it's something that is under discussion. It's something that can be considered and looked into.
Given all this, there is still a concern that the system might be manipulated and subjected to abuse.
So abuse obviously is something which we need to look at closely. I want to believe that now that it involves public funds, the coming in of a board and the law of public entities, Corporate Governance Act, being also weighing in, as well as also the offices of ZAC and all that, I want to believe that we can manage it.
Zimbabwe aims to reduce road accidents by 50% by 2030. This target is aligned with the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety. The proposed Road Accident Fund is part of a cocktail of interventions by authorities towards achieving the set target. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I'm Faith Nyawude. in Harare.
The Zimbabwean government will look into measures to support carpenter farmers in the country whose livelihoods have been increasingly disrupted by the impacts of climate change in recent years. This came out during a tour of carpenter fishing cooperatives in Kariba by the Small to Medium Enterprise and Community Development Minister Monica Mtwanga this Thursday.
This Tonga phrase, kukuta kubeleka, means you have to work hard to eat. It is inscribed on one of the carpenter rigs along the Chawara Harbour on Kariba Lakeshore used by carpenter fishermen. The shore is home to 500 rigs owned by various cooperatives. At least 23 cooperatives are operating in Kariba. The industry has had its challenges with climate change at the center of it all. Reduced dam levels and increasing temperatures made it difficult for the struggling fishermen to realize meaningful catches. From 300 kilograms a night more than 2 decades ago to less than 100 kilograms has been the sad reality of what climate change has caused.
Former mariga tangati now tane tasara ne maviri ndo tasara na watu kushandisa ezvino saka kuti tichowana mari yekuti tikwanise kuti tivakise marigi waya iri kutinetsa nokuti uwandu hwematemba ari kubuda munyanza umu zvichitera ndokupera kwamboita mvura kwemakore maviri matemba ari kubuda ari mashoma.
Women's Affairs, Small and Medium Enterprises Minister Monica Mtwanga said the government is committed to supporting the sector whose benefits aids to the economy and toward food self-sufficiency.
But otherwise there's a lot of good work which is being done and they need support. There are of course issues which they've been telling me, the challenges they are facing. We may need to make sure that we align all the levies they pay, the licenses which they pay, all that needs to be looked into.
The continuous rising dam levels have ignited the hopes of the fishermen. Their scramble to operate in the lake have been compounded by claims of unregulated rigs from Zambia amounting to over 2,000. Zimbabwe and Zambia share the vast man-made Lake Kariba.
Zimbabwe joins the rest of the world in celebrating the International Albinism Awareness Day, a celebration which is meant to uphold the rights of people with albinism. Esther Chasi, the founder of Global Aid Missions, an organization which advocates for the rights of people with albinism, indicated that the celebration is crucial as it brings light to the challenges being faced by people with albinism. She says the awareness plays a critical role in demystifying myths on the condition.
An event like this really means a lot because it's a voice to the world to really bring out the plight for the people that are living with albinism, the discrimination, the stigma that they go through. So it is a special event that we do take seriously as an opportunity to bring our voice on behalf of people living with albinism. There are quite a number of organizations within our country that are advocating for the rights of persons with albinism. But there's still a lot of work, like I mentioned earlier, especially in rural communities. There are people that are quite ignorant that there is help out there. So hence people living with albinism out there are still suffering a lot of stigma, segregation, and some are prone to ritual activities. On a day like this, the 13th of June, it's a special day for persons with albinism. Let's embrace them just like anybody else. They have the capabilities just like any one of us. So let's give them opportunities, those that are in various sectors.
Newsplus takes a break. Stay tuned.
Crowd goes absolutely emphatic. He has done it.
Get ready for more on Supersport, the only place to watch all the FIFA Club World Cup.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
Edgar walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Welcome back. You're still watching Newsplus on ZTN Prime. A shocking story. A Bikita Early Childhood Development ECD teacher has been dragged before the Masvingo Magistrate Court for allegedly sucking blood from two pupils. The 51-year-old is facing 2 counts of assault and was remanded in custody to June 30, pending finalization of investigations. It is alleged that between May 20 and June 5 at a primary school in Chief Budzia, the accused sucked blood from 2 pupils. The matter came to light when one of the children's parents was bathing their child and noticed some wounds on the fingers. The rape trial involving social media influencer Mai Jeremiah opened in Harare this Friday with her alleged assailant pleading not guilty. The duo accused of raping her, Tabo Blessing Dube and Martin Charlie, denied the allegations before Harare Regional Magistrate Letwin Rodzi. In their defense, the duo told the court that Mai Jeremiah was the one who initiated the meeting via a text message to Charlie and denied the state's claim that they contacted her first. They told the court that after the said business engagement they engaged in a consensual sexual intercourse with Mai Jeremiah. Now let's look at stories from beyond the country's borders. 70 rhinos have been translocated from South Africa to Rwanda. Managing Director of Conservation Eugene Mutangana said the translocation marks a significant move for the government of Rwanda and boosting tourism.
This translocation is so significant to the government of Rwanda in that it's the largest within the country, even beyond, for the 1,000 wet rhinos. It's not just being the largest, but also improves and grants trust that people have conservation for Rwanda, but also boosting our tourism, adding value to our tourism industry.
Moving on with our stories, South Africa is set to boost agricultural exports to China by leveraging BRICS support and growing trade channels as local exporters report surging demand for diverse produce in the Chinese market. Ripe, a leading South African fruit and vegetable exporter, supplies locally sourced produce to 45 countries worldwide. The company has experienced a significant surge in demand from China, benefiting from the expanding trade avenues between the two countries.
When we started only with citrus into China, and that volume has been growing year on year. But more recently, we've also seen an increase in demand for our apples as well as our grapes from the Chinese market. BRICS has definitely helped South African and China trade. There's usually a lot of red tape when it comes to regulations and certifications regarding the fresh produce industry. But with BRICS and the support that they've given us, new varieties, new fruit cultivars, new types of fruit are now being exported to China.
Israel has carried out 5 waves of airstrikes against Iran since the early morning of Friday, targeting Iranian nuclear sites and military sites. Explosions were reported in Tehran and western Iranian provinces. An Israeli Defense Forces spokesperson said in this operation named Rising Lion, the Israeli military sent more than 200 fighter jets to attack Iran in the first wave of the airstrike. Israel claimed that Iran has a significant enriched uranium to produce multiple nuclear bombs within days, prompting the urgent military action. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a video address that the ongoing operation against Iran's nuclear infrastructure aims at preventing that country from threatening Israel and will continue for days until the threat is eliminated. Moving on with our stories, a senior research fellow at the Center for China and Globalization, Andy Mock, says the Trump administration's move to deploy the National Guard to quell the immigration protest in Los Angeles without the governor's consent falls within the president's legal authority but violates the traditional notion of U.S. federalism. On Sunday, U.S. President Donald Trump deployed National Guard troops to Los Angeles without a formal request from California Governor Gavin Newsom in response to immigration protest. The move follows days of unrest after U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) led immigration crackdown.
I think from a narrow perspective, well within the bounds of what Americans would define as federalism, but more strategically, I think the Trump administration clearly is looking to centralize and deepen power, which of course would violate the traditional notion of federalism.
Chinese envoy has expressed concern over the escalating tensions in Yemen and called for dialogue to achieve a political solution to the crisis during a UN Security Council meeting on Yemen. China's deputy permanent representative to the United Nations, Zheng Shuang, stressed the importance of maintaining the security of shipping lanes in the Red Sea while respecting Yemen's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The Chinese envoy emphasized the need to create conditions for advancing a Yemen-led and Yemen-owned comprehensive political process through nationwide ceasefires.
正如包括中国在内的许多国家指出的那样，当前红海的紧张局势与加沙冲突有密切关系。没有加沙的永久停火，红海的动荡就难以真正的停息。而站在国际社会的对立面，7次在安理会内滥用否决权，阻挠安理会为早日平息加沙乱局、拯救加沙民众于水火的，正是美国。在这种情况下，美国有什么资格动辄对他国来甩锅推责？
Stand by for business news. Up next.
We are a special day today here in Harare. It's the inaugural show of the Phoenix podcast.
The story of Africa is really a story about rising from the ashes.
I'm privileged to be sitting in Dubai, and I'm here today in this city of Hoi An in Vietnam. And he's the Amazon #1 seller of a new book called Take Charge. She's one of the most famous celebrity chefs in Vietnam.
You just have to speak it into the universe. When you say something, the universe listens, God listens.
But more importantly, we're talking about having the ability to believe in yourself. Because if we want to make our children, it's not what we do for them that will make them, but it's what we don't do for them that makes them. If you want to be a global player, listen to the future. You can't become the pill without the irritation.
You have to go through that pressure. It's what's going to make you shine.
Those things that I fell down actually helped me appreciate how to get up again. And every time I got up, I was stronger. Because there's nothing as powerful as an idea whose time has come.
In business news, Edgars Stores has reported a profit of just over $800,000 for the year ended January 2025, despite a 22% decline in units sold and mounting competition from informal retailers. The group says strong cost controls, increased local manufacturing, and a shift to lower interest United States dollar borrowings helped cushion the group. Eben Mabunda gives us more.
Now, Vifex-listed clothing retailer Edgars Stores Limited reported a 9% jump in profit after tax to $813,000 United States dollars over the 12-month period to the 5th of January 2025. The outturn was despite a 22% volumes decline over that particular period. In 2024, Zimbabwean consumers tightened their belts, and it showed. Edgars Stores recorded an aggregate 9.1% decline in retail revenue to $30.7 million as consumer priorities shifted owing to the El Nino-induced drought and volumes dropped across its key brands. The Edgars chain led performance with 56% of sales, while Jet Stores contributed 44%.
For Edgars chain brought in 17.2 million in terms of its turnover contribution, compared to $18.2 million in prior, which was a 5% decline.
With 60% of clothing sales now happening in the informal market, formal retailers like Edgars face mounting competition. In response, the group is reinforcing its resilience through innovation, investing over $1 million in its Carso manufacturing unit. Local production volumes rose by 58%, helping Edgars improve cost control, boost efficiency, and better compete on both price and quality.
What you not find there, which enhances our investment in proper plant and equipment, is that prepayment for the boiler at Carousel, which has increased our investment to about $1.9 billion.
Despite strong headwinds, the group's bottom line grew 9% to $813,000. One of Edgars' boldest moves came with the rollout of its express stores, low-value brand outlets operating on a cash-only basis. 6 stores have been opened, with 4 more in the pipeline targeting budget-conscious shoppers.
In terms of the market expansion, we want to do 10 stores this year for express, so that we'll be able to reach the mass market we are targeting.
Another innovation came from above, literally. Facing persistent power cuts, Edgars installed solar systems across 32 stores to stay online.
So the moment we picked that energy costs were now becoming too high, number one, because of dollarization, and number two, because power cuts were around 16 hours a day last year. So we had to put 32 stores on solar last year, and we are putting the rest of the stores this year on solar.
Edgars now earns 86% of its revenue in US dollars, up from 82% in 2023. Credit sales remain strong across Edgars and Jet, making up over 70% of sales. The US dollar debtors book closed at $11.6 million, down 7.4%. With a market capitalization of $8 million, Edgars is bullish with its capital expenditure having jumped 152% in 2024 to $1.6 million, with indications the group has allocated nearly $1 million in capex in the 2025 financial year. Eben Mabunda, reporting for ZTN Prime in Harare.
Moving on with our business stories, a recent tour of Duration Gold Limited properties in Bulawayo by ambassadors of Canada, Edla Aristide, and American ambassador Pamela Tremont has shed light on the operations of one of the mining sector's foreign direct investments. The private working trip hosted by company managing director Mr. Alan Dolan was meant to praise the two envoys. This comes at a time when more Western companies are being encouraged to invest in Zimbabwe in various sectors, including mining. The ambassadors toured Gaika mine in Kwekwe as well as Bubachikwe mine in Gwanda. Gaika was previously invaded by illegal miners but has since been rising and is earmarked for the next stage in mining development from exploration to full-scale mining. A company public relations manager, Robert Mukundiwa, shed light on the purpose and the intentions of the tour.
As you know, Gaika was previously the scene of illegal mining, and we struggled for quite a while to get order back there, but then order was since restored, and we wanted to show them how we have grown in leaps and bounds going forward. Gaika, of course, has got international investors. It's got even Chinese EPO, so that would be a great hybrid which has both a Western foreign direct investor and an Eastern foreign direct investor. And we believe they managed to see how we operate and understood our dreams, hopes and aspirations. And this at a time when, of course, we're trying to bring in more foreign direct investment into the country.
2 months into Expo 2025 Osaka, Zimbabwe is seizing the spotlight using its pavilion to promote tourism, court investors and reshape its international image. The global exhibition, which opened April 13, features over 150 countries under the theme Designing Future Society for Our Lives. Speaking on ZM Prime's The Mint, Business Hub editor Herbert Jarare said the event is helping reposition Zimbabwe as open for business.
What the president usually say that Zimbabwe is open for business. I see Zimbabwe taking this opportunity to position itself as one of the major economic players, a major provider of products that are needed in the world, major provider of even minerals that the world is looking after. For example, right now, many countries are going for electric vehicles, and the electric vehicles they need very strong power storage batteries. And Zimbabwe is one of the biggest producers of lithium, which is used to make those batteries. And after the exhibition, I see so many countries interested to look into the area of partnerships in lithium mining.
Moving on with our business stories, Zimbabwe is exhibiting at the 4th China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo, which began in Changsha, China yesterday. Nearly 4,700 Chinese and African companies, as well as over 30,000 participants, are attending the 4-day event themed China and Africa Together Towards Modernization. The Zimbabwe Pavilion is showcasing a wide range of products, which has drawn huge interest from visitors. Since its launch in 2019, the China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo has been held 3 times as cooperation between the continent and the Asian giant countries continues to grow. ZTN spoke to Zim Trade Export Promotion Officer Alex Mutandi.
As Zim Trade at the Zimbabwe Pavilion, we have got 10 companies that are in the horticultural sector, the leather sector, cosmetics and arts and crafts. This is day 2 of the Kaete exhibition in Changsha, and so far our stand has been busy, as you can see. All the products are in demand. We have received a lot of inquiries so far. I think by the end of the expo, to know the number of businesses under negotiations and the deals that have been received so far. But what we find of interest are most of the cosmetics and arts and crafts. We are also trying to exhibit our avocado and macadamia nuts, so that we're able to export this product into China. Going by the views of the trade visitors that are coming through, it seems the quality of our products are top-notch as we speak right now. That's why you are seeing the stand is very busy. Our exhibitors are swamped in terms of trying to help whoever is coming to inquire about their products. So we are happy so far with the quality of the product that we have at the show.
Entertainment news up next. Stay with us. In entertainment news, after a successful Legends Night show held at the HICC in Harare earlier this year, Jose Sax and In Total Band will be performing in Bulawayo this weekend at ZITF Hall 2, and this time around, ESR will be joining them. Here's a snippet of their last performance. Well, it seems like it's going to be a great weekend for those in Bulawayo. The Mutupo Festival 2025 is happening on Sunday, 15 June at Alliance Francais in Harare and will be offering vibrant storytelling, traditional displays and activities for all ages and cultural enthusiasts. The event will feature a colorful lineup of artists.
It's the Mutupo Festival, hosted by Yemukono Derek Umpo, featuring God's favorite guitarist, Clive Mono Mukundu, Pachiera, Albert Nyati, Josh Mek, Tina Wachkoka, Mangoma, and many more on the 15th of June 2025.
Stand by for sports news up next.
In a world where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z-Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
In sport, financially troubled Dynamos have withdrawn from the 2025-2026 edition of the Confederation of African Football Confederation Cup. The ailing Zimbabwean Giants revealed they are incapacitated to participate in the competition. Dynamos, along with Kasulaga Premier Soccer League Kings Zimbabwe, had secured tickets to represent the country in the Confederation Cup and Champions League tournaments. Dimbare successfully defended the Chibuku Super Cup title by competing back-to-back victories over Ngezi Platinum Stars to secure their passage to the Confederation Cup. Although finer details are still to follow, Club Board Chairman Bernard Marriott confirmed that he okayed the Executive Committee's decision. Moving on with our sports news, Premier League outfit Scotland FC are working around the clock to make sure that Mavuku #1 grounds will be ready to host top flight matches before the year ends. The 15,000-seater Mavuku Stadium, whose construction began around early April, is expected to be completed around October this year, with the club hoping to move there once it meets international standards. If approved, the side will have made strides in decentralizing football and taking it back to the community, as Mavuku will welcome back top-flight football in years after having last seen when Lafarge Stadium was still in use. Moving on with our stories, the Zimbabwe Senior Men's Rugby Sevens national team have named 12-man squad for the 2025 Rugby Africa Sevens Cup, set to take place in Mauritius from June 21 to 22. Cheetahs coach Ricky Chirengende's squad is a mix of experienced campaigners and rising stars, all of whom have excelled through domestic competitions and regional build-up fixtures. These include the SA-based trio of Tinotenda Mavesera, Tapia Mafura and Edward Sigauke, Vuyani Zlomo, Munashe Dukuswa, Brendan Mudzekenyedzi, Ryan Musumi, Tapio Malenga, Dion Kumalu, Carlos Matematema, Trevor Gure, and Godfrey Magara Mombe. The Cheetahs are in Pool C along with host Mauritius, Tunisia, and Madagascar. Only the top 2 teams in each pool are guaranteed a place in the knockout stages, making every match a must-win encounter. The Zambezi Eagles are in high spirits ahead of the Telkom Netball League Power Week 2, which got underway Friday. The players have welcomed the invite to the Telkom Netball League as it gives them a platform to showcase their talent. We get more in the following report.
The Zambezi Eagles say they've worked on their shortcomings from the first week of the Telkom Netball League. The side picked 4 wins out of 9 in week 1 and are confident going to the second week after having spent more time in camp preparing.
Especially for my combinations. Because last time we only had 3 days in camp. Yeah, the combinations were there, but for us now we have to say what we're expecting this time since we had more days in camp. I think we really worked hard on our weaknesses because it's quite a second games I think we're running with our feet this is going to be this time
the Eagles are expecting positive results despite going up against tough opposition and will be using the games to measure their performances.
Isusu tirikutarisina kunowina kuSouth Africa sematonera takaita yakatondikoshera zvekutodaro kozi ndenchiziva kuti ndakuimprova apa neapa pashota kuti ndigadzise ndeapa neapa so yakatokosha zvekutodaro kuti inise player ndenchizotarisira kuti izvezvi ndapapa izvezvi ndapapa.
The team expects tough competition and will try to leave their all on the court.
Tototaisa kuti tatowana competition zvekutodaro nesuwo tichaenda kunozoratidza kuti isusu ndisu anani. Matimates takaudzana kuti tikuenda kunofaita guys tonongoweka hard tobatana as a team tongoita izvo takaudzwa nemacoaches edu totedzera game strategy yedu.
The Zambezi Eagles will be using the Telkom Netball League as a platform to showcase their talent as well as to try and put up their hands for selection for the national team.
That concludes our time together here on Newsplus. Thank you so much for joining us. We now leave you with the weather. My name is Francisca Msheche. Have a pleasant weekend and God bless.